going back again and addressing purpose and meaning in life, we live in a world that, again, where things demand itself to become ultimate, I think. And it's so easy in our lives to make really good things become the ultimate thing. And once that happens and everything else seems to get out of balance, if our family becomes the most important thing, then other parts of our life might suffer. If work becomes the most important thing, then family, relationships, health, mental health begins to suffer. And as we kind of go through the list of all the things in our lives, we realize that good things can't become the most important thing. It can't become ultimate. And once that happens, life's out of balance. And that again goes back to, how do I make sure good things don't become ultimate? Well, that becomes a spiritual situation. We have to evaluate, what are we worshiping in our life? And what we worship makes all the difference. So therefore, I think it's important to come in and talk with someone and process about getting a spiritual perspective and finding who or what demands our worship. The next biggest thing dealing with our mental health in life has got to be perspective. How we look at things makes all the difference. And more particular is our perspective around pain and suffering. Maybe the biggest thing that shapes our life and how we handle that, how we approach that, how we look at it. And for me, it seems to be the biggest thing that how we deal with it makes all the difference. That is why I love the gospel. And I love the Apostle Paul's perspective on that is, hope comes from our suffering. What an artistic idea. Yet when we look very close, it's so true. We have hope because of how we have suffered. As he says very eloquently, rejoice in your sufferings. Suffering brings endurance. And endurance brings character, and character brings hope. Those aren't just lofty words to be encouraged by. It's the truth. The hard part is, how do we do that? How do we suffer well? And that starts with, how do we perceive our current situation, our current dilemmas? How do we seen ourselves get through pain? How do we get through suffering? How do we find those things that are glorious from our suffering? And that's what it's really about. And getting help and getting support and being in a community and finding a new way to look at things has got to occur. Otherwise, suffering for suffering's sake, that's a bad death. But suffering and finding a way out through that brings about hope. That's where we learn our deepest character traits, through our compassion, our understanding, our ability to empathize and to care and to love are only in existence because we learned through our own sufferings. And those are the fruits we get to give others. But sometimes we don't see it that way. And talking to someone, getting help, coming to get help can help us understand how to do that.